The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Paranormal Concept right here on Parasearch UK Radio with your host, Paul Rook.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Paranormal Concept. It's the 6th of June, I believe, and tonight's subject, we're going to be talking about paranormal teams that scam and rip people off, basically. And on tonight's show, I'm joined by Kerry Greenaway. Hello, Kerry.
Hello there, how are you?
I'm not too bad.
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. And I'm also joined by Paul Stevenson from the Haunted Magazine. Hello, Paul.
Hey, Paul. How are you doing? Hi, Kerry.
Hello there.
Hiya. You all right?
Yeah, not bad, thank you.
Good. Yeah. So.
Apart from the weather up here.
Yeah, I know. The weather's been really out of sorts today, especially. It's not decided what it wants to do today. Yeah.
It's really bad down here too. I'd just like to point that out.
It's probably bad everywhere. Just want to say hello to Lindsay and Gray we've got in the chat room. So hi guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Oh, and Richard Clements has just popped up. God, it sounds like a horse race, doesn't it? Oh dear. Anyway, moving on. We've got tonight we'll be talking about paranormal scams and fraudulent teams. Now, quite a long time ago, there was a paranormal team called Compass Paranormal, and I it was almost like when I started doing Trident and stuff like that, that this team sort of come about. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that one, Paul?
Well, yeah, I have heard about it. I wasn't involved in that so much. That I heard about it at the back end of when it all happened, if you know what I mean. When it was too late, when they'd taken the money and ran, so to speak.
Yeah.
It was a case of I think Compass was owned by somebody else. I don't think it's the original people who owned Compass. I think they sold it to somebody else, and it was the people that sold it to who sort of like muddied the name, kind of thing. I
do believe that it was almost like they didn't intentionally decide to run off with the money, or I mean, we're only assuming that they ran off with the money. You know, it could quite easily be that they overspent and there was no money, and they just took off because they were worried, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is the thing. I think it happened. I think it's probably maybe 2.5 years, maybe 2 years now.
Yeah.
And I think it was a time, even though social media is big, 2 years ago it probably wasn't as big, and people probably didn't speak out as much as they should have. And you know, so people weren't aware of it. I think we got asked to sort of like try and help if we could, from a magazine point of view. At the back end of it, when they'd gone, they'd disappeared. The people who had taken the money. So basically, and I think they tried the police route as well. You know, the action fraud.
Yeah, they did.
And that got them nowhere, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I did. I think because obviously when that was sort of going on as I was building my business, it did have a knock-on effect because people were still wary of new teams coming about. But I think at the time, a lot of people were saying if you pay with credit cards in particular through
Yeah.
PayPal, whatever, then PayPal and the credit cards can get refunds from you,
Yeah.
refunds, and it's all obviously done legally as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's some sort of clause in the PayPal and debit cards and stuff that allows you to do that. So, I mean, if someone did take your money and run, then you're still protected from that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I think you are. I think you're right. I think you are. There's a lot of protection out there. More than people realise. I don't think it's advertised as much that that it can be, you are protected, and maybe it should be. But let's point out it's only a small minority of groups that are doing this. The majority of groups are run in the best way they can be run, and the events are good and people have a good time. Now and then, it just seems to be that everyone pops up every now and then, and just either is run wrong, so it goes wrong, or it's an out and out scam. So it's hard to know.
I mean, other than Compass, I've in 3 or 4 years' time, I've only known a small handful of teams that have disappeared with people's money or disappeared into the ether. So it's
a lot. I mean, a lot of it could be down to bad management at the end of the day. Because if it's I think it's basic maths at the end of the day. If you have an event and people pay for that event, then if the event goes smoothly and everybody's happy and the event's done, then the money then becomes yours. If at any time before the event things happen, so the event's cancelled, then there should be, in my opinion, a pot of money that should be refunded virtually straight away. Yeah. But in some cases, it doesn't happen, leading to upsets here and there, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we had an event with my company at Coalhouse Fault, and there was a lot of things that went on, and it wasn't, in my opinion, a really good event. Things went wrong, and we, for whatever reason, we had to cut the evening short. But rather than saying to all the guests, we're going to give you a partly refund of the money, we sort of give them a discount to another event as way of apology. I mean, it wasn't our fault that the event went the way it did, but you've got that option. And I think for some teams that can't handle that as well, they might just want to disappear, and and it does give the illusion that they are running for a guilty reason. Yeah,
and possibly a lot of times they just worried about, they don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So it's something that as we said before, last time I spoke a few weeks back. There's a lot of groups set up now. Now, I don't know if they've gone via the business manager in the local bank. I don't know if they've just decided to set it up. But if you do set up a business, there's loads of advice online as to what to do, and that kind of thing. And the bank will help. They want your business. So
absolutely. And I do think, I mean, most of the teams that do pop up at the moment, I class them as ghost hunters. I don't class them as paranormal investigators. It isn't until obviously I got into the radio, and we're dealing with guys like Ashley Nibb and like various other, Cole Hutchinson as well. Is one of the names that keep popping up. It isn't until like now that I've started getting in with some of the paranormal investigators, and it's almost like a different class of people.
Yeah, well, I think there's a division between paranormal events companies and paranormal teams. They both essentially do the same thing, but essentially it's for different reasons. One is for financial gain, to entertain the public, not by faking it, but to entertain the public by taking them on a ghost hunt to locations where the public couldn't get access to normally. And paranormal teams are teams of what I would say people who have got an interest in the paranormal, who want to know more, and want to investigate haunted locations, but not for financial gain.
I do see, because I with Trident in particular, we do a bit of both. Obviously, we do stuff for the public and want to get them in, and because it is a full-time job for me, I do want to work and do want to earn a wage out of it, a livable wage. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not one of these people that are quite greedy and want to start selling the tickets for 80 quid a ticket.
Ooh.
You know, I wanted to keep our ticket prices low as possible, and you know, I'm doing okay. I'm not totally flush with money or anything, but you know, it's running quite fine. And then
I have seen a lot of, over the last year or two. Sorry, Paul.
Yeah.
Over the last year or two, I have seen prices a lot cheaper than they used to be. I don't know if you feel the same, but you know, a couple of years ago, it were 40, 50, 60, 70 quid. Yeah. I've seen 25, 30, 35, even less than that. So whether or not it's because there's more companies now are fighting for the same location, and their prices, they're trying to either price match or undercut the other teams. But I think the prices are going down. I don't think it's going to go down much further, but I think it's definitely gone down from. I met a couple of years ago. There was an event that was like 120 quid, and that was in the UK. I'm like, 120 quid. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. You know, it's the old adage, isn't it? If the public want to pay it, then so be it. But prices have come down, and that's for my opinion, that's a good thing for the public, really.
Yeah. But then, just because it's a cheaper price doesn't always mean that you're going to get a better event.
No.
Because I know that there is a particular paranormal team that's just sprouted up, and they are charging £35 for every event for this year or next year, I think it is.
Right.
So all their events are 35 quid, no matter what the place charge. It's just a flat fee of 35 quid.
Well, that's quite good, because from a marketing point of view, that's quite a reasonable price.
Yep, I agree. But saying that, when you get locations like Shrewsbury Prison, for example, that charge £1,200, they're going to make a huge loss out of that. Well,
they are, but they're also going to get a core support of business. Yeah. So you have to look at it from a marketing point of view and say, right, they're going to get a lot of people in thinking that's a good price. Now, when you've got them pulled in and hooked in, when the prices go up to 45, 50, people might not mind that, because they've already been on 3 or 4 ghost hunts with this company, this team, and they've got the rapport, they've got the friendship with them, and that kind of thing. So, you know, I can see that working. That's quite a good idea, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it is a good idea, but I just, because obviously I run a paranormal events team as well, I can see that they could go the other way. Yeah,
there's always that risk. I mean, it's it's business, isn't it? Businesses go bust every day, unfortunately, and setting up your own business is a massive risk. There's lots of pitfalls. There's lots of highs, many highs, but there's lots of pitfalls as well.
There is. Yeah, Kerry, I know today you posted on Facebook a question. Do you want to tell everybody?
Yeah, I just put a general question out there as like, had anybody come across any, scams or frauds that they'd come across? And there was a few comments, huge amounts of people saying that they had been scammed through it all. But there was more to do with the media side and having readings that hadn't really come up to scratch, I suppose you would call it, more than anything else. But one comment was from our very own Richard Clements, and he said, I don't know whether teams or groups deliberately set out to defraud the public. If so, then this is a crime itself. However, I feel a lot of teams and groups do get themselves into financial mismanagement when organising and charging for events, as a lot of paranormal events are run on a shoestring budget. And that's really, really true. Yeah. It is a mismanagement of money. And having helped run a small paranormal team myself, it is very, very difficult sometimes to get the books to balance between buying kit and paying for locations, and then you get a team member drop out, and it can be very difficult. But we're talking about an individual small team, not a public event, so you make up the money between you. When you're dealing with the public and you're booking larger events, you really have to be really, really strict with the money and make sure that everything is paid so it can go ahead. Or you've got insurance in place. You can get events insurance as well. So if you have to pay out money before you get the money back for ticket sales, then you are covered by insurance. So that's another factor that people need to be aware of. And Paul Adams also commented, he said, I have attended several seances in the past 10 years where I believe that the phenomena produced by the medium was bogus, and that the sitters, including myself, who had paid a lot of money to attend, were being deceived. And that, that's a different kind of scam completely, but it's another form of scam, and it's all these sort of things that, come under this banner. It's an event where it's not happening as you thought it would, and you've paid a lot of money for that.
So how would they sort of prove, though, that it was a bogus medium or whatever that was doing the seance?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's very, very difficult, isn't it? It is really, really difficult to go before the event. Look into it and go, like we talked before the show. You can look up reviews and you can look up, people that have attended events before and stuff like that. But we all know that you can put your own, reviews up or get your friends to do it or something like that, So you can do your research to a point, but sometimes it's luck of the draw, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, with mediums, let's not forget they've been around for a long time. And, 7-8 years ago, there probably wasn't as many as there are now. Because you think you can train to be a medium now. You can do courses to open the doors in your mind, that kind of thing. And it's like, with a medium, is it entertainment? Is it something? I know some lovely mediums who, 50, 60-year-old women, and I don't think they rip off merchants, but, I wouldn't pay £15, £20 for a reading. But people do, and there's the side to the story that people seek comfort. If they get one or two words that they like or one or two messages that they like, then they're happy. And if they go away happy, then is that a crime? You know what I mean? What gets me is the people who do readings on Facebook, and I don't get that. I always think it should be face to face, that kind of thing. But I'm sat on the fence with mediums. I don't know whether it's true, whether it's not or not, or whether they can predict things, that kind of thing. But they've been around for years, and I think they'll be around for many years, to be fair.
No, I think there's definitely that comfort factor, and I think with mediums you do definitely have to take it as entertainment value and take what you're given. And if they're right, if they're wrong, they're wrong. I do believe it's all those type of things are stated as entertainment value. They're out there for entertainment only, because of, I believe, I could be wrong on this, the Witchcraft Act. I'm sure you have to put it down as entertainment. But at the end of the day, with a medium, if you go and you pay your money, you take your choice. You know what I mean? In that particular circumstance. I've had good, I've had bad readings. But I wouldn't have said I was scammed or defraud or fraud. It was fraud. It was given to me. I paid my money. I said, thank you very much. I paid for a service at the end of the day. What service was what I made of that service. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of anything else. Having said that, if I paid a huge amount of money to go to an event and the event wasn't what it was billed as, then I would really kick off, because I've paid a lot of money to go to a location and maybe not get access to the location, or that, it's not run, whatever. That's a different thing completely.
Yeah, well, I think with events, and I don't know about if you have mediums on your events, Paul, but we, when I first started to do the magazine, it said that every event had a medium, and now that's not the case. A lot of paranormal events, be it teams or be it companies, don't have a medium anymore. I know a few that I know don't have mediums, and they allow people, because obviously a lot of people go to, that 25, 30 people go to an event, and a lot of them say that they are sensitive. So rather than being told by a medium that they're hearing, seeing this, a lot of the public people who go on these events are sensitive to pick up things, that kind of thing. So the mediums become sort of like not needed. So I don't know, but obviously some events do have mediums. So I guess it's just down to the individual company, I guess.
Yeah, I think it is, because as a rule, I don't like having mediums there, because they can lead the public. You know, they'll say, oh yeah, there is a spirit and it's in this room, so let's go and investigate this room. I'm picking up this, I'm picking up that, its name's John, and, you know, so they can lead the public. What I like to do is give the public a paranormal investigation event. So I'm teaching people how to use some of the equipment that we use on a proper investigation, and I'm giving them the chance to be paranormal investigators for the night. So we're not actually doing ghost hunting like most of the companies. We are doing paranormal investigation. Now, okay, we don't record as much information as we would on a proper investigation. But we still give them that experience. So that's sort of where we're a little bit more unique than other teams. And, you know, we've had feedback where it's been absolutely amazing. You know, they love the company. They'll keep coming back for more and more events, and, you know, they absolutely love it, the way we do the investigation. But there are other people that have come on the event and they expect us to be exactly the same as all the other ghost hunting teams. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they come on the event expecting the most haunted style of investigating, and it's not like that at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? The most haunted TV show. I've got their own events company, and events, and if you judge, you should judge the company by the TV show, really. So, you know, it's again, a lot of people have their favourites, and if they have a favourite and then go somewhere else, you know, they've got to be prepared that it could be different. It could be completely different to what they expect, and that's not a bad thing, though. But you know, it's I mean, I go on a few with the Haunted Live team and on the Haunted Events team, and a lot of people are regulars. There's a lot of people who come back. That's because they like the way it's run, the locations, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of factors that will stick to the same set of teams, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we do the events as well, we make a list of all the things that people can expect on the event. You know, we've even signed up with the British Paranormal Association, just because it instills a little bit more faith in us. I mean, no, from a paranormal investigation side of things, it doesn't really mean anything. But to the public, you know, we want to try a good, reputable company.
Well, again, you're right. I mean, the BPA, it's all about divisions, isn't it? You know, the BPA set up for a valid reason by Simon, and again, it's with anything, it causes divisions no matter what people do. So, paranormals, I imagine the paranormal now a bit like a Trivial Pursuit. Yeah, you know, one of those counts where there's like 6 wedges in it, and each wedge is different. I imagine the paranormal being like that. There's so many divide in the paranormal world that you don't know which subject to choose sometimes. But I can see why the BPA works. I can also see why it can't work. But you know, that could be a subject for another show, another time.
Absolutely, we'll have to get someone on from there. I think that'd be good.
I'll get Simon on. I'm sure Simon will come and talk.
I'm sure we would.
I also think it comes down to your perception of what investigation you're going to, you know, what type of investigation that the company does. I mean, it's sold to you. Ultimately, it's, you know, it's in the marketing of how the event is actually sold to you. I mean, when you go on a Most Haunted event, you expect the most haunted experience that you see on the TV, and that's exactly what you get. You get, like you say, you get members from the team, you know, and they run it in exactly the same way. And people who watch that program and have been followers for, you know, years and years and years want that. That's what they're paying up. That's what they're paying for. They want to meet the stars. They want to have that experience with those people. If they then go to a different events team and don't get that experience, then they've got to have read the blurb before they go to make sure that they know what they're getting before they go, quite frankly. They can't expect everybody to run it like the Most Haunted team do, because 99.9% of teams don't run their event like the Most Haunted team do. I'm not degrading Most Haunted investigations at all. I'm just saying it's just a different way of doing it to another team. So it's down to the individual when you're booking events to make sure you know what you're going to be getting and what type of investigation. And that is important, I think, to then read the reviews. I mean, when Phil Wyman was running his events, he would do it in his way. Trident do it in their own way. Sage do it in there. There are so many different big ones out there that you can pick. I mean, my first one was with Haunted Happenings, and when I look at what they used to do, or how they ran their event, it's different from how Trident run it. I'm not saying it's better or worse. It was just different. But sometimes different is good, because you learn different things from different companies. You learn different experiments. It's good to go with different teams sometimes and see how they run things and how they do things, because you might learn something at the end of the day.
Yeah, you have to have a niche. There's no point in being the same as Joe Blogg's Paranormal. You have to be different, even if it's 1%. You have to do something different. Treat your customers differently. It's all about. There's so many companies out there, so many locations, and it's all about either finding different locations, that's a niche, or finding a way to be different in your investigation. Like Paul says, Paul's offering the paranormal investigation experience. And a lot of teams do the ghost hunt experience, because that's what people want and that's what people pay to go on. Some like to go to locations in their area. Some like to visit locations that they never thought they'd get investigating or ghost hunting in. So I've always been a big believer in having a company that's different to anybody else. Run well, organised, but having that niche area that you can always use to sell your company, basically.
Yeah, make it unique.
Yeah,
and like you say, trying to get into some of these larger locations, some of them are really, really expensive. So for a little team, it's out of reach. So if you can then go to a larger company that's booked it and say to them, okay, so we'd like to come along as a team. I'd like to book the tickets to your event. Is there a possibility of us keeping as our little team and going off and doing our little thing? And 9 times out of 10, they'll go, yes, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, a lot of teams now are flexible now, and a lot of teams. I mean, my mate Lee, he runs the events at the Village in Nottinghamshire, Mansfield, and every week there's a different team there, and every team's different. Some allow the public to go on their own down to the areas and do investigations, because a lot of public can now bring K2 meters and voice recorders. It's not all about a table of gadgets where people say, right, this is this is that. A lot of public are aware of what things do now, and they bring their own equipment. So, that kind of thing. So it has changed so much over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, they're evolving in their own right, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And that's a good thing, really, because, paranormal's evolving, so I think we all should evolve with it, really.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, with Trident as well, we do try and book different locations that are not done that much. Next year, we're going to try and hire out larger locations. And, we welcome paranormal teams to come along. And if any paranormal team does want to come along, they can, and we will put them in their own group. They may be joined by one Trident member, but that's for insurance purposes. But they will literally keep right out of the way. They'll let you get on with your investigation, and we may also be able to do a group discount as well, depending on the location. So
yeah, because we've noticed that a lot of companies now don't sell out anymore. Years ago, there was sold out months or weeks before the event. A lot of companies advertise reduced price tickets either on the day or the week before, that kind of thing. So that to me suggests that there is a lot more companies doing very similar things. So it's not all about the price. It's sometimes that if you negotiate and there's 10 or 11 or 12 of you, then there's nothing wrong with bartering. And at the end of the day,
exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you there as well.
I do like a good haggle. Yeah, it's good work, really, especially if you get in. Yeah.
Okay, we've had a lot of comments in the chat room, Paul, that's going a little bit wild in the old chat room tonight.
It's always wild.
I know, they love a bit of talking in the chat room on your show, don't they?
They do.
Okay, they do.
Love it.
Mediumship is more or less a belief system. You either believe it or not. That was going back to when we were talking about mediums and stuff like that. Now, I did say it was the Witchcraft Act, and apparently it's the Consumer Act, and that covers paranormal events as well. Mark Davis has come in. He says, I think that it's important to distinguish between mediums and psychics. He says, just run with me. I'm not claiming that either exist. It's muddy waters, I know. But to me, a medium is almost a performer, someone who's there to perform to an audience almost, while psychics, to some extent, just do what they do without necessarily informing anyone else present with them what they are sensing. And that's a good point, because look, we talked about when on an investigation, people are feeling the location and picking up on stuff, but they're not necessarily saying it out loud and, telling people what they're feeling. Ashley says, agreed, if you're going to an event with a company, it should be detailed what they will get for their money. It should be organised and follow a structure. And paranormal companies have to be flexible and perhaps offer more bespoke events. That's a really good point. And then again, Ashley, more companies hitting more locations across the UK, plus current popularity demand is down a little, I think, is what he said. But do you think then that the paranormal investigation events is almost like oversaturated at the moment?
I wouldn't say it's oversaturated. It's bigger than it ever was. There are more companies fighting for same locations, but on the flip side of it, there's more locations available. Every town, every county says that it's the UK's most haunted county, York, Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, that kind of thing. So, there's pubs in those areas that probably I've got paranormal activity and probably never thought about doing events there, but now run events. It's not. I think when I first started the magazine, there was probably Woodchester Mansion, that kind of thing. There was the Morecambe Winter Garden. They were the big ones. But there's so many now. There's so many companies. There's so many locations. People might say it's saturation, but it's it's business for some people who want to run it as a business, and also B, it's a chance for the public to get out and get investigating ghost hunting. Maybe it could, maybe if the businesses aren't run properly, it could cause problems for the business, like people who didn't want to not pay the public the money back if things go wrong. But it happens, Paula and Kerry, as we know.
Yeah.
But oversaturation, I don't know. I don't know if it's oversaturated or not, because I think there's a demand for it, and to meet that demand, the paranormal businesses and the companies have grown to meet the demand.
Mm.
Well, on
That's
that
a fair
note.
point.
On that note, I'm going to have a quick break, and we will be back very shortly after this short message from Harry Price.
Hello, Harry Price here. Good evening. If there's nothing myself and everybody else enjoy here on the other side more is the sit back and relax and listen to Parasearch Radio with its paranormal news, views and reviews from across the UK and beyond. Make sure to find out more about them on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web, whatever they are, to keep up to date with all their broadcasts throughout the week. And I hope you enjoy them as much as we do over here. Hello? Is anybody there?
And welcome back. We are talking about some event companies scamming and fraudulent, and yeah, we're just talking about that. And we've got Paul Stevenson here with us, and also Kerry Greenaway. Hello.
Hiya.
Hi.
Welcome back. We just had a Harry Price message. I thought that was awesome. It's really good of him to do that, I think.
Yeah, he must be about 120 by now. He's doing really well, isn't he, really?
No,
Yeah.
it came from beyond the grave, actually, is what he did. He sent us a little voice message through EVP that we've managed to, like, clean up. And
they all listen to Parasearch UK or Parasearch Radio.
See, that's the thing, talking about Harry Price. I mean, one of the reasons I love the paranormal, because when I was 8 or 9, I got a book on Harry Price and Borley Rectory, and I absolutely loved it. But then, obviously, later on in life, you're researching more, and was he a ghost hunter? Was he an investigator? Was he a artist? You know what I mean? So it's a fine line that he walked, apparently. I found out that when he got employed by the Mirror to write about the paranormal in the 40s and 50s or something like that, he sort of like embellished. He felt, because he was getting paid for it, he felt like he had to make things happen in his column, that kind of thing. So, it's I think it was a different time, a different era, different era.
So it's almost like a most haunted of the day.
He was one of my
That's happened recently too, and I think the pressure to perform, as it were, can be immense.
Oh yeah, of course it can. It's I don't know. It's like we're talking about TV shows and Most Haunted. I mean, the capturing of the ghost, that kind of thing, and people will have their own opinion on what it is and what it isn't. But and it caused quite a debate on a lot of Facebook pages. But people have got to realise it's an entertainment show. Mm-hmm. It's up for an award for most entertaining programme, not factual programme, most entertaining programme. So people have to judge it as that.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are probably we talked about this before, in the 30s, probably grew up watching Most Haunted, and probably are into the paranormal because of that.
Yeah, I agree.
But it is an entertainment show.
But all of them are, all of the TV programs,
exactly,
and I'm going to use the most haunted word, a plethora of paranormal related shows out there. I mean, there's new ones popping up all the time at the moment.
There is.
And, which is great in a way, because we all have a TV program, don't we?
Well, there's one on Quest Red called Ghost Brothers.
New one.
It's basically 3 Afro-American blokes who go ghost hunting, and they don't tend to use many gadgets. They investigate locations in America, obviously. They use a lot of their humour, and that humour comes out in the TV show. But it's a show. The history of the building's still there. There's lots of sort of like activity, or lots of places where they investigate. But it's, I'm a big believer of people say, oh, you can't laugh on investigations. I just think that's wrong, because, if there are spirits, there are ghosts, then surely they, in their previous when they were living, they laughed, they enjoyed things, they didn't go around being miserable faced all their life, that kind of thing. So I think humour can A, be a defence mechanism if you're scared, but also B, raise the energies up if that's needed to create more activity.
Yeah, and I can also understand as well, if you was to, it's almost like ignoring the spirit. So you're in your group and you're having a laugh, and only you're building up the energy, but you're also ignoring the spirit to try and make it think, well, hang on a minute, you're here for me, sort of thing. Hello, and slap people around the so you could get interaction that way as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's we've got to not forget that there's no. It's not like it's an exact science. There's no official rule book on the paranormal. We don't know if it's true. We don't know whether it exists. Don't know if it's real or not. So, it's like there's no guidelines as to how to run a paranormal or ghost hunt by the book, if you know what I mean. So
yeah,
it's all different. I guess all events are different, as I spoke about before. But it's, I've been ghosting for 20 years and I'm still none the wiser as to whether they're real or not. So I've heard things, I've seen things I can't explain. I've heard things that I've dismissed, but I'm still none the wiser. I've not seen a ghost right in front of me or anything like that to make me believe more than I do or don't. So, you know, I'm a big, since I started the magazine, I've always said the paranormal is your journey. It's your personal journey. You can go it with your friends or with a team or with a company, but it's your personal journey. And it's something, but no, I still saw it. And if somebody else sees it, but I didn't see it, they saw it. And I'm not going to have a go at them for saying they're lying, that kind of thing. So it's, to me, it's your own personal paranormal journey.
Absolutely, and I do agree with that. You know, I'm always willing and open to learning new things from other teams. You know, we don't ban our team members from going out with other event companies if they want to, providing they obviously don't clash with our events. But, you know, I'm always happy for our staff to go out and learn new things. You know, we're all learning as we go on. You know, I've been in the paranormal now for about 10 years. And you know, I'm still learning. I'm still picking up new things from different people, and this is a benefit that with the radio. You know, I'm learning things all the time. I listen to all the other shows, and you know, they're quite interesting, and it does make you think about new theories as well.
Well, I tell you what, I don't see a lot of. I don't see a lot of sharing of, you know, when people run events, sharing of what happened, like a report. I don't know whether that's something that I'm not on a page that's privy to that. I don't know if companies share their information or don't want to share it in case other companies get information of what they've seen, that kind of thing. So, you know, is there? I know the SPR sort of like do events and probably or do investigations and probably log their stuff, but I don't know many teams that actually log their investigations, that kind of thing.
I think the thing.
I mean, I personally don't, because mainly because we're not recording anything. Yeah. You know, because we're not on a lockdown investigation. So, you know, I could hear people walking above me. Well, I can't be sure that's not another group of people. No. So it's very hard to gather evidence on a public investigation. Now, if it was a private investigation, I'd be logging everything down and filing it away as one of our own personal reports. Right. But if, for example, there was an incident at another event location, not too far away from me, where one of the in-house paranormal teams was actually caught on CCTV camera throwing stones. Now, that paranormal team that recorded that sent me the copy and said, look, you know, this is what they do at that location. Don't bother going with them. So when it comes to that sort of evidence gathering, you know, we do all talk to each other. So, you know, we can then say, well, we won't book that location because what we want to give our guests is a genuine experience. We don't want it to be faked. And as their in-house team fake things, we don't want to go there. And since then, they've lost the contract to be the in-house team anyway, so it's not much of a problem anymore.
I think it depends on the type of investigation you're doing. If you're doing a public, to write a report and keep track of everybody and all that, it can be a nightmare if you've got like 30 people. If you're doing a small team, then I think it's really relevant to write a report and keep it logged. Yep. And if you're private, there's confidentiality agreements in place, so you can't share that information. So, you know, we'll be talking to him very soon about writing case studies and reports and stuff like that, won't we, Paul? Yep. To help build the community, get various activities that are happening, and how to do it in the best way possible to get the right information down, and databasing and stuff like that, you know, paranormal teams can access. So to show you guys, so it's open for that one.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think there are, if you look on the internet, there are data of activity, not from groups, but I think there's a website called Paranormal Database, and you can type in a county or type in a town, and it tells you what people have reported, that kind of thing, over the years. But, you know, I've never seen anything. I mean, I don't know if it's a private investigation, do you keep your reports private, or do you let people see those reports, or are they just private for your personal record, that kind of thing?
I think I think the websites that are out there are basically like accounts of just people that have had experiences. They're like walking down the street, you see a ghost and it's been reported and it goes into a database. Mm-hmm. I don't think there is an actual database where paranormal teams can, I don't know, I could be wrong on this, and please tell me if I am wrong, but it would be useful for small paranormal teams to have, they can look it up, and submit an official report, of what they encountered. That would be a really useful tool, particularly as there are so many little teams out there doing their own thing at various locations, and the experience they use and the equipment they used and the times, properly logged it. It used to be, Andy Evans just said there used to be one, but it vanished years ago. So, it is...
The ghost moved it.
But rather than it being like individual personal accounts, it would be, teams that have actually gone in to do a paranormal investigation. Yeah. So, mate, that, as I say, we're doing a show on that in a few weeks' time. So that could be something that comes up. We shall see.
Well, the SPR, they've got files. Oh, you'd be amazed at what they've got. When we did a feature on the Enfield case, we got privy to some files down at where they're stored, and it's amazing what they did. In the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, a lot of it probably won't come out. Do you know what I mean? So, and this is before gadgets, if you know what I mean. This is just tape recorder, and that's it. So, we got the chance to interview Guy Lyon Playfair, amazing person, and it's just a different world, the same world, the paranormal world that we live and breathe, but a completely different generation. Even you got the Ira Price era, and you've got the 70s, the Enfield case, that kind of thing. All pre-gadgets, that kind of thing, and now we're entering a sort of like a scientific age, so to speak, where more and more important. Whether that's a good or bad, I'm sat on the fence on that. But there are more gadgets than ever before.
Well, Mark D in the chat room has just said, I think that the elephant in the room is that there are investigation reports and then there are investigation reports. He has a fair point. He has a really good point. It just, it would be useful to have a almost standardized kind of report that you would fill in after an investigation that would then get forwarded to it. And as I say, we are doing a show next week, isn't it, Paul?
Next week's show.
I believe it's Graham Smith, isn't
Smith,
it?
yeah.
Oh, I know Graham. Graham.
He's actually going to come on the show, and we're actually talking about writing out reports and building up cases, particularly how to do it and do it properly. Do you know what I mean? So, listen next week, because we'll be talking all about that next week.
Graham's got a very good quote. He said to me many, many moons ago, he said, there's no such thing as experts. They're only experts in their own opinion, and I thought that's very valid. So, Graham's a nice guy, good guy.
Oh, well, he's
I'm looking forward to that. I am looking forward to that, because that is one thing where, like Mark has said in the chat room, there is an investigation report and there's an investigation report, and it needs to be kind of standardised. So everybody's submitting the same kind of, or the relevant information even that's needed to actually put it into context.
I mean, it might even be handy, like the paranormal database that they're talking about in the chat room. It would be quite handy to have a form attached to that, so that when the investigators come to write out this form, you get, as you said, the standard information, and then that gets logged. If another paranormal team wants to pick it up, they can, and then they can record their information onto it as well. So I think
we're living in a different era. In the media, people Photoshop. Oh, it's an app. Oh, it's this, that, another. Then they're all this, and yet you look at photos from the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and they may well be fake, but at the time they caused massive. They were famous. There's a very famous lady on the stairs painting a photo. Sorry, and I love that picture. But now ghost photos are dismissed even before they're discussed.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the brown lady of Raynham Hall?
That's the one, the Raynham Hall. I know. Yes, I love that picture. I love that photo. I know I think it was been proven to be fake, I believe.
It has, yeah.
Yeah, but that picture was. I just think it just sums up to me the whole paranormal world. That old building and that ghostly figure. It's just one of those pictures that I love. But these days they're sort of, I can imagine that being in the paper whenever it was and causing uproar, that kind of thing. But now photos that people send to the papers. And papers pick up on them. They're just, they're dismissed before they're discussed, and that's wrong. They should be discussed and then dismissed, in my opinion.
But if you had this form of database, then you would it'll be putting that evidence before your peers, before it hits the media or social media. So it would be able to be looked at by the serious investigators looking at, building up case histories and looking at evidence that's supposed to have got and giving us a picture of what's happening. And although it's, you'd have to be open to, unfortunately, we think it was done this way or this is what's caused that. Mm-hmm. That's fine because that increases your knowledge, doesn't it?
It does. But then it's like, I totally agree with what you're saying. But then there's the old subject of who checks the checker. What gives them the right to be so-called peers and experts, that kind of thing, because they've got a knowledge of what, somebody said to me the other day, my dad's got a degree in parapsychology. Will that get him into locations more? I said, no, not really. If you've got some money, that'll probably get into location more. But, it's not, a Tesco checkout operator can catch a ghost picture just as much as an expert, in my opinion, an expert can.
Oh, no, I totally agree no, I don't disagree with that. But if we're talking about building a database, which is roughly what we've sort of got onto from frauds and scams, and we've kind of got into this area, then you've got the little teams that are going out. They'll have what information they're needed because they'll have the form that they need to fill out, so they'll know what they're looking at to report on, as it were, and submit that evidence to other people that are looking at the paranormal world in a more serious way.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know what I mean? So so we're actually niching it into a more serious investigation case study rather than just people who are going out and having an experience.
And it's building a case file on a. So, yeah, I mean, someone that works for maybe the ASSAP or another scientific community out there could pick up that file, look at 10 teams that have added to that file, seen what they've got, and then they might be able to explain some of it away or debunk some of it, and do you know what I mean? And do a scientific build-up profile, if you will, of that particular property, and it can be labelled then paranormal hotspot or something.
Yeah, I guess it's like 30 East Drive, where it's become very popular. There's a lot of people who have not been and it's fake. I just don't know how you can say that until you've actually been. Yeah. It may be publicity and that kind of thing that's made it so popular, but I don't think you can go to location and say it's fake or there's no ghost here until you've actually been. That's just my interpretation of things.
Yeah,
and what it would do is actually stop a location that's not haunted from just getting a little team in who says they get some activity and then slapping on this is the most haunted pub in the world. Do you know what I mean? And selling, tickets to an alleged haunted location that isn't really haunted. Would it stop that or would it not? I don't know.
I don't know.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. It might make it worse. You never know. So.
You never know. It might do.
That's it. And you could have the paranormal database seal of approval for that claim.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, this little subject has kicked off in the chat room. I mean, Andy M has said for any of this to work, there has to be an agreed body organisation, which everyone is happy to be the arbitrator. There have been many attempts over the years, and it has always fallen apart. Yeah. And Mark has said, I feel that this is because there's so much plagiarism that goes on, so people are guarded. In my summary, there is a lot of information that he doesn't cover. Sometimes this is due to further research that is required, which is a good point. Other times, especially if it's a popular location, some information that is speculative could be adopted by others as gospel, and it inadvertently becomes part of the folklore.
Oh yeah, there's lots of legends and history and mystery of buildings that, like when King Henry VIII is supposed to own 8 buildings, and it's whether that's true or not, it's it remains to be seen. I've never seen King Henry VIII on my investigations, but I guess it's something. We're in this industry, we love it, we work in it, we live and breathe it, and it's something that we'll talk about until the cows come home, so to speak. That I imagine in 20, 30 years' time, Mike, your kids and Paul kids will have the same conversation, talking about whether ghosts are real or not. So,
very good point.
And they'll still be on about fraudulent teams and bullying and stuff.
Well, you know what? We've not touched on that much, which I guess shows us that there's not much of it around, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
it does happen. We know that. My message would be to, if it happens to you, then if you try and contact them and all else fails, shout out about it. Get help from people on social media. It's worked in the Simply case. We're not going to go over all ground, but it worked to a degree. If you're into ghosts, then no doubt you're on Facebook, or no doubt you're on a few groups. If you've exhausted, if you spoke to them and they've got no reply, no response, say something on Facebook or social media, and somebody will share it and share it and share it, and eventually it'll get around, and people say, "Yeah, I'm owed 20 quid as well," that kind of thing, or 30 quid. So, and then hopefully the people of Facebook can, I won't say solve it, but we can help, and we can
absolutely. And there is enough decent paranormal investigators out there that can offer a little bit of help and advice, because I've seen it. I've seen how people deal with it in the past, so I could even put people in touch with the right guys that can help or give advice and stuff. So yeah, definitely shout about it. Let people know. That's the best way of dealing with it, I think.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. I do agree with that.
Awesome. Right, so we put that one to bed.
Yeah. Problem solved. Next one.
Yeah. Next one, licensing for paranormal teams. No, joking.
Don't mention that word either. Para-unity. Come on, please don't mention para.
No, I'm not going to even go there. No, we've only got a couple of minutes. Well, about a minute and a half left. So yeah, I don't think we can cover that subject.
Well, I can just imagine the Fox sisters turning in their graves thinking, "What have we started?" That kind of thing. 180 years ago, and it's like, these 3 girls invented spiritualism, and it's like we've grown from that and gone through all the Victorian mediums and all the, cheesecloth, ectoplasm, that kind of thing, and look at where we are now. And we've all moved on. We've got gadgets left, right, and centre, and social media, and yet the fact remains the same.
Yeah.
Nobody knows whether ghosts exist or don't exist.
Well, that's it. I mean, there is so many good concepts out there, and set up by reputable paranormal teams as such, and they want to go forward, but until they get the official seal of approval from the government or whatever, then it's just not worth the paper it's printed on, really. And before Haunted Magazine is out next week, and we talk about the most haunted ghost, and one guy has explained how he thinks they did it, which is in the magazine. But in my editorial, I talk about basically, right, ghosts are real. Let's all go home. That's it now. It's all been proven. And what the knock-on effect is. And is this the most haunted ghost that looks identical to Stuart?
Yes, I mean.
Oh right, yeah, I've seen that one.
Yes, yeah, it's uncanny, but yes, it does. But anyway, the guy called Dale, runs Paranormal Truth. He's done a feature on it for the magazine. He has to do it, and I said, his opinion on how it was done. So it's in the magazine next week, and I'm
really looking forward to that. My
editorial is based on the fact that if now ghosts are now classed as real, what happens now? Do we all think, oh, it's not fun anymore because we're expecting ghosts to turn up on events, that kind of thing? Yeah. When you go to an event it's like it becomes the norm to have a ghost walking slowly next to you, that kind of thing. And so it's sort of like, that show that was about if Germany won World War II, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that, a splintered look into the future, my editorial in the magazine. But, we all know.
I think if they did discover that there are such things as ghosts and spirits, then I think people would want to know more. They would want to know about the afterlife then. So that's sort of going up to the next level.
Yeah, it's like, the magazine would have exclusive interview with a ghost, that kind of thing, you know what I mean? And, would a ghost need a human guide to communicate, that kind of thing? So, it's just weird, mate. We're in this industry and, my parents sort of like think, why do you hunt ghosts and why do you investigate paranormal? It's not true, but I love it. I was 7 years old when I got this book on the supernatural, and I've loved it ever since. Yeah, and it's something that it's just something that I really I'm not. I don't want to. I'll be honest. I don't want to prove whether ghosts are real or not. I just love the buzz of going to a haunted location. I love being scared. The chase. I love being scared. I love not knowing, and I don't know personally for me if I did know whether it'd be the same for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I'm happy that we still to this day don't know whether ghosts are real or that kind of thing. And but I imagine when I do pass this earth, I'll come back as a ghost and I'll let you know for definite whether we are real or not.
Awesome. That sounds good to me. And on that note, sadly, we have come to the end of the show.
Really?
It goes so fast.
That's amazing.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I just want to thank everybody that's been in the chat room. Paul, I want to thank you once again for joining me on the show. It's been an absolute amazing journey having you on here, and hopefully we can draft you in for another subject at some point.
Yeah,
providing Richard spells your name right, that is.
Exactly, it's with a V. Yeah. With a V. Well, no, I've been on twice now about frauds and cons. I mean, come on, I'm a nice guy. Let's have some positivity.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I agree. Radio shows. I think getting your point across and having a debate is in a nice way is a lovely form of communication, and long may it continue.
Absolutely. So anyway, and Kerry as well. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're very, very welcome as always.
Brilliant, and I'll have you on the show again probably next week. Actually, no, you are.
Yeah,
you are
actually,
on the show
I think
next
I am
week.
on the show next week. Not probably. I am on the show next week.
Yeah. So we're going to be having Mr. Smith, aren't we, on the show next week?
Graham Smith, yes, we've got Graham Smith coming on
really
the show next week.
Then,
sorry, I know. It's because I'm trying to do something else at the same time. I'm trying to multitask. No, we've got Graham Smith, and as I said, we're talking about how to build a case study and how to log your investigations properly. I think that's what we're doing.
Absolutely, it's going to be a blast. So thank you all for joining me tonight, and I shall see you all again next week. So stay safe away from those suicide bombers and terrorists and stuff, and I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.